Hello, everyone. Welcome to this webinar on cracking HR and operations interviews. We have an esteemed panel of four with us today, two panelists for each specialization, that is, HR, human resources, and operations management. So, let me quickly introduce the speakers to you. First up, we have Parul. Parul completed her MBA in HR from NMIMS Mumbai. She passed out with 2019 batch and did her summer internship at Reliance Industries. She got recruited at Mahindra Logistics in her finals, where she's working as an HR manager. Secondly, we have Sadaf Zia. Sadaf completed her MBA again from NMIMS Mumbai in HR. She passed out with 2018 batch and did her summer internship at Reliance Jio. She later got recruited at Crompton Greaves during her finals, and currently she is working for Nestle as an assistant HR manager.
Then the third person that we have on today is Ketan. Ketan completed his MBA in operations from NMIMS and then he passed out in 2019. He completed his summer internship at Mahindra Rice and then he currently is working with Honeywell as a strategy sourcing specialist. And the last person that we have on call today is Jay. So Jay completed his MBA in marketing and operations from NMIMS Mumbai and he did a summer internship at Mahindra Logistics and currently is working with Asian Paints as a demand planning analyst. So let's quickly start the session. Now that I've introduced the speakers, I will uh, let the speakers introduce themselves. I mean, if they want to add something, because I've given a very brief introduction of theirs. So if they want to add something or maybe kick off the session with anything that they want to, I'll let them do that. So we can start with Parul and then we'll continue with the other speakers.
Okay, hi. Like Harsh said, I graduated in 2019 and I majored in HR. I did my summer internship at Reliance Industries Limited, and so I was one of the few interns who worked in IR, and I was based in the Jamnagar plant. So it was a very different experience as to what a typical HR person has. And then now, currently, I'm working in Mahindra Logistics. So I work on the special projects with the head of business HR of Pan India. So all the special projects are under me. So going forward, I will explain you more about the role and about the summer internship that I had. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Pawan. Yes, Sadaf, please, if you want to add something.
Sure. Hi everyone. I'm Sadaf Zia. I'm from Bhilai, Chhattisgarh. I have completed my graduation in commerce background, after which I did my MBA in HR from NMIMS Mumbai. I specialized in HR stream and I'm from batch 2016-18. I did my summer internship from Reliance Jio where I did three projects. I was kind of remembering what those projects were because it's been quite some time. So the three projects revolved around career progression planning for the sales force. Second was training and development of the sales force, and third was making reward and recognition schemes for them. And after completing my summer internship, I also did a couple of corporate projects. One in Steel Authority of India Limited in the IR space, and second was done with Aditya Birla Group, which was majorly around training and development. I was placed in Crompton Greaves, as Parish mentioned, wherein I was placed in one of its factories in Bhopal. My work was majorly around the employee life cycle management of white collar employees in the factories. And after around 1.5 years of experience in there, I moved to Nestle India, and wherein I am working in one of its R&D centers as a human resource business partner. So yes, that's about me.
Okay, thank you, Sadaf. Yes, Ketan, you can take it.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Harsh has already given a brief intro, and a few pointers I would like to add is yes, I did my internship at Mahindra Automotive, which is in Pune, and my internship title or internship project was related to Six Sigma, reducing the defects and errors in car production assembly line. Like if we have an X% of defect, I had to improve it by 10%. And after my internship, in finals, I got placed in Honeywell, working as strategic sourcing specialist. So the term is quite broad. To give a brief outlook of what I do is I handle the supply chain financing programs for Honeywell with respect to procurement and also new initiatives on COVID-19.
Thank you, Ketan. Jay, can you, Jay, are you there?
Yeah. So, hi everyone. Like Harsh has covered mostly the things. Like as was mentioned that I have done my summer internship in Mahindra Logistics. So, giving a brief overview about my project. So, it was mostly focused on the mapping a roadmap for Mahindra Logistics for entering the reverse logistics space, and what are the potentials ventures where they should look out and how they should progress at it. So, I have to prepare a go-to-market strategy and everything for that. To my internship was completely focused more from a strategic point of view, how what is a market scenario and where they should look on. Then in finals, I got placed in Asian Paints. So just giving a brief overview about my work at Asian Paints. So initially we were having a stint period where we were taken with different departments which we are having. And post that, currently my major role here is like doing the demand planning for the Asian Paints decorative business, and also driving the sales and operation planning process, which is the key for like in which different stakeholders interact, and then we arrive at a common demand plan for the entire few months. So it's focused mostly from doing a short-term planning, long-term planning, and mid-term planning.
Okay. Thank you, Jay. Oh, thank you guys for giving a brief intro about yourself, which I missed out during my monologue. So we'll straight away get into the agenda of the session, which is again to discuss about the experience that you guys had with respect to your summer internships. And by experience, I mean, as you guys already know, because I had shared the agenda plan with you, that experience as in, I mean, you must have sit for say 3, 4 companies in this process of getting recruited to the ultimate company in which you got placed. So from that perspective, which companies you sat for, what were the processes? I mean, because some companies have their GD and then PI, some companies have some sort of aptitude test or something of that sort. Or there are other some companies which have a very innovative way of eliminating candidates or maybe shortlisting candidates for the further rounds. So something of that sort. So your experience with Summers, the shortlisting problems, if you faced any, otherwise that's fine. I mean, the companies which you got shortlisted in, and then if you guys have any work experience, so if you can just mention that you already have say 2 or 3 years of work experience, or you are a fresh. So with that, I'd like to throw the ball in Parul's court. So Parul, your experience of getting recruited at Summers.
Okay. So, thankfully, Reliance was my first company during my summers. So, I'll just explain the process that they had for HR. So, they had several rounds of selection. So, the first round was, I think it was an aptitude test. And then they had a GD round, which was based, so the aptitude test was very easy. It had general maths and English related, verbal related questions. Then the GD was like a case study. So we were given a case study in a group of 7 or 8, and out of that, they selected around 20 people, and all those 20 people had to go through a psychometric test, and it was a very different kind of psychometric test. It had spatial, SPATIAL, that's a spelling. So it was a very different test, and so that was there along with basic psychometric questions that we usually get. So after that, having cleared that, they selected for HR. I'm talking. So they selected around 6 people to interview. So in that interview process, what helped me, I'll tell you, because it was the first company I got in touch with someone in Reliance who worked in HR. So that was one day before. So I understood the entire all the nitty gritties, all the HR processes that are there in Reliance, and that was, a game changer for me because the other people had not contacted anybody. They just read about the company, which generally people do. And so I had an upper edge there because I knew first-hand information about what the HR processes were, and that kind of impressed the jury, the interviewers. So this was the entire process in Reliance. So talking about my internship experience, Reliance has a very different kind of experience. They have a separate branding team that they release your posters over Facebook and LinkedIn for each and every for every intern, and then I think around a week before you are about to join the internship, they give you your location, your project, and one HRBP that is assigned to you, and who will be your project manager. And then I think everybody else stayed back in Mumbai and they worked on projects that were related to corporate HR. So, along with me, there were four people who were sent to plant locations for their internship. So, now coming to my project. So my project was in IR. They wanted to They wanted me to first study the different IR incidents that had happened in the past. So there was a major IR incident that had happened, I think in 2012 or 13. They wanted me to study that particular IR incident deeply because I think there was someone who committed suicide and there was fire at the premises and people had come and it was so they wanted me to study that particular event, and then they wanted me to design a process that will automate the process of handling IR situations. So I worked on a flow chart first as to who should be involved as per their designation and role, who should be involved when an IR incident happens, and then what should be the process flow, what should be the process of information sharing, who should be informed and who should be not. And then I had to automate it. There is already a system that they're using for this, so I had to work uh, on that system after studying all the IR incidents that had happened. So this was basically my. So I closely work with the IR team, the HR team, and also the IT team. Then, yeah, this is the gist of my internship.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, just two, three questions, Paul, as
Hmm.
someone who's just planning to join MBA in HR. So,
Yeah.
first thing that comes to their mind is what, because no, I mean, most of the people will not have a background in HR. They'll be from different backgrounds, but not HR. So,
Right.
what kind of questions can these people expect in the interview? Like, what were you asked? Did you have a background in HR? And if not, then how did you go about answering questions in your interviews? Is it just HR questions that you were asked in the interviews, or is it anything related to your undergrad or maybe whatever you've done?
Okay. So I don't have a background in HR. I did my graduation in computer science engineering, and I would make this very clear that in the summers, they will ask you questions related to HR. Uh, They'll majorly ask you your favorite subject, and then they will ask you questions related to HR and all the academic projects that you are currently doing and that you've mentioned on your CV. So I was asked questions related to those projects, and they wanted to understand how deeply involved I was in those academic projects. So, because I did not have any background in HR, so there was nothing to talk about my previous, and I'm also a fresher. So, there was nothing to talk about my previous experience. So, they majorly grilled me on my project, the academic project that I had mentioned. And then they asked me what is my favorite subject and till now that I've studied. So, then I was asked questions related to that. And also, once they realized that I had some knowledge of what Reliance is doing in their HR as an organization, they wanted me to, you select one company in your academic project. So they wanted me to relate that company's particular process to the process in Reliance that I knew, and they wanted me to tell me the gaps that Reliance probably has, as per my understanding,
Mhm.
obviously. So these were the questions that they asked me. There was one person who was also selected for the interview. She had a background in nature, so she was mostly grilled on the questions related to her previous uh,
From
company.
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And again, one more thing is what exactly is a career trajectory for an HR student, like a student who specializes in HR? What sort of roles are available in campuses when it, I mean, because you would have known for your friends as well. I mean, what sort of roles do these companies come with? And maybe if you can name some companies as well which come to NMIMS, or maybe such sort of list tier one colleges, if you have any idea about
So, in 2019, when I sat for my finals, mostly the companies were coming for, if they were coming for 3-4 roles, there was at least one role in HR analytics. So companies like Capgemini, Cognizant, Edelweiss Tokyo, all these companies had at least one role in HR analytics, and they wanted to understand we had a subject related to HR analytics, and also everybody studies statistics. So they wanted to understand how deep knowledge we had in that, and that was one major role that was coming in every company. And apart from it, there are roles in as HRBP, and I think Cognizant came with a role for uh, talent talent management, and so how
it?
how do you move the talent pool? I think there are a lot of people sitting on the bench, and how do you move the talent pool in the company? What is the strategy? And also a lot of roles came in L&D. For example, Wipro had quite a lot of roles in L&D. They selected around 4 people in learning and development. So these were the main. So very less roles would come in IR, or because I think major chunk of IR roles go to Aguilar, and very less roles would come to IR. And if they come, there is gender bias in IR and also language bias in IR.
Okay.
And I think L&T had come, so they wanted a male candidate and who knew Marathi, so apart from the knowledge in HR. So yeah, so that is there. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Parul. Just I'll try like to move on to Sadaf now, because Sadaf, if you want to, I mean, just talk about your summer experience, and again with respect to the company in which you got recruited and then you changed your job. So how that shift worked out for you, and then what exactly was your motto behind maybe changing jobs or doing those sort of things.
Yeah, yeah. So, how do I start this?
Summer
Yeah.
internship
So
experience.
in general, all the companies would come up with the GD and PI process, or some of the companies would also have the case study. Some had the psychometric tests also. These were the usual processes. I did my summer internship with Reliance Jio. I was given one project, but I ended up doing three. One was the one which was given to me was related to the career progression plan for the field forces, and that was a time when Jio was changing its strategy. It was moving from free SIM strategy to converting those SIMs into recharging from the customers. So that was the time when they wanted me to do the project. It was a very interesting one because it was also done earlier, but there was no end to it. So eventually I was also not able to add much value to it, but I got two more projects. One was related to training and development. We had to make video snippets for the field forces on how to train them in a very short span of time. And then we had to write a recognition scheme for the field forces, because that was actually not in space essentially, because Reliance at Geo had just come into the picture back in 2017. It was pretty initial stages for Geo, wherein the only thing that the Geo was into was to sell the SIMs. So that was the major strategy at that time. So it was that time when I had done my internship, and I vividly remember there was a big screen in front of our in our bay, wherein they were showing the number of customers that they have converted till now. So that was when I really moved into the space. So yeah, this was my summer internship all about. And I also did two more projects. One I did in the Bhilai Steel plant, which is a part of Steel Authority of India Limited. And I worked around the IR space. And here, my idea was to understand how the relationship is developed between the management and the workers, and it was a very interesting project. I literally went to the people working in the shop floor, and I used to ask them what really inspires you to work, and do you, if you have any problem, where do you want to go to? Do you go to the management, or do you go to the unions? So these were the kind of questions I was asking them, and I was getting very raw inputs. And this is one of the reasons why, which really helped me a lot while my finals placement, because I eventually got into a factory setup. And as Parul was mentioning, usually the companies have a bias towards selecting male candidates in a factory, but I was, I guess, one of the only person who got into a factory. And it was this internship that really helped me a lot. And the questions were also in the finals, the question were also related to that. And being worked in a factory, I mean, since I have been brought up in the steel city, my dad was also working in a factory. I kind of knew the culture, as in what is like to work in a, what is it like to work in a factory, because my father used to tell me all those stories from his factory. So it did help me a lot. I would really understand, and I was able to connect to the questions that the panelists were asking me during my finals. So yes, that was one thing that really helped me a lot. I also did one of the corporate projects in Aditya Birla Group. It was in the L&D space. So eventually, what is my takeaway from my experience in MBA is that since I was a fresher and I had very less exposure towards corporate, what really helped me was these corporate projects and summer internships. I tried to do a lot of corporate projects and along with the internships. So this helped me understand the various industries, etc. So Aditya Birla Group was a proper conglomerate. Everything was very well structured in there. So I understood how were over there. I mean, how things were very well settled up over there versus Reliance Jio, which was in its very initial phase, wherein they did not even have a policy for reward and recognition. So that is, it was in that an initial phase. So it was just starting all these things. And then I had this PSU, which was very huge, Bhilai steel plant. I went in there, how things differ in a factory versus how things are different in a corporate setup. So these things helped me understand what my calling was, and eventually helped me understand and convert my interview to Crompton Greaves. And eventually moving from to Nestle. Well, I think the brand itself was a calling for me. I did appear for the interview. It was majorly around my experience in the factory, how things were there. It was majorly around that. I had a generalist profile in here, and that was basically the requirement over there also. That did help me, which helped me also pick up in the R&D center pretty quickly. So yeah, that's about my experience in there.
But is the role that you are currently working in Nestle, it's not a factory role, right?
Yeah. So, R&D center of Nestle is essentially also a factory, and so it's a mix of both R&D center and a factory. We also have a small noodle line in the factory wherein the trials of noodles happen. So yeah, it's a mix of both R&D center and a factory. So the thing, how it differentiates from a proper factory is that it is not, we do not have a lot of blue collar workers. We just have hardly 7 or 8 blue collar workers as per the factory norms. So that's like that, but it has a lot of R&D, this kind of a culture. Uh, how do I define it? I mean, it's a little gray area how people are more into innovation. It's not like what happens in a factory where the major focus is production. Here, the major focus is more towards innovation. So it's slightly different in that case.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ketan, if you want to go next and talk about your experience.
Yeah, sure, Harsh. Talking about my experience with Summers, I think I interviewed with 3 or 4 companies. I think Mahindra was my 4th company, which I converted. And to talk about the processes, it's like all the 4 companies had GD and PI, and I guess Aptitude was part of one other company. So yeah, GDPI was the crux of that. And talking about the interview, since I had 2.5 years of experience with Siemens, my interview was like, apart from the HR or the basic hygiene questions, it was more centered towards what happened, what I did with Siemens, and in my past internships, like a month or a couple of months internships, what I did. So more or less, it was about that. I had researched about all the roles which I had applied for, like if I can find a snippet in my past working life, like if what the role is demanding, and if I have done something like this, I could highlight that in interview. So that was one thing I did. Like I tried going back into my past and finding snippets of what the role demanded in some internships, and I think that helped with Mahindra. The role was mostly about improving the productivity of the shop floor. So my internship was out and out on in the factory, on the shop floor, amongst the workers, amongst the machines, and getting improving the productivity. And I would say it was more mix of an operations and data analysis role, because I had to collect the data, set the parameters to collect the data, and then do my analysis. And after analysis, like what inferences I can make and the suggestions I could show. So that's on the summer internship part. And yeah, I would say that do find similarities what the role is demanding in summer internships to what you have worked in past, if you have work experience. And even in operations, even if you don't have work experience, don't get don't think like only can help you in operations. Just try finding uh, examples in your day-to-day life. I think Jay can touch base upon it in a detailed manner. And going on to my finals interview was based on my summer. So you know how it cascades down. So it cascaded down from my past work experience into summers, and summers into my finals, and that's about it all.
So, Jay, I'm sorry, Ketan, as you said that you sat for 3 to 4 GDs. So, what would be the topics of the GDs around? Would it be abstract topics, or would it be like something related to current affairs, or something related to maybe if you were given a case where you could maybe improve the production efficiency of any something of that sort? So, what would be the case study discussion?
Uh,
Okay.
so in operations, it's rarely abstract because there is a whole lot of plethora to cover in operations. So all the GDs I had in operations and all my interactions with the seniors or colleagues or batchmates from other colleges, operation GDs tend to be technical related to operations. Mine was like, I would list down a few: digitization, procurement, logistics in today's world. Is shipment still valid in terms of air freight and all? So yeah, those were like the topics were technical. I didn't have any abstract topics in the operations GDs. Neither did I hear anything from my peers as well.
Okay. So then, what would you maybe recommend to the people who are going to sit for the GDs this year if they have such technical topics? I mean, how should a candidate go about approaching a group discussion?
Yes. So, first thing I would like to highlight that digitization is the key focus in procurement and in supply chain as well. There's Bitcoin coming in. There are many other things. So just be updated with them. I won't say like go deep into it. You just need to know like the basics and their advantages, disadvantages. And another thing is like I would like people to read up on how operations is affected in COVID-19 situation, because that would really give you the edge, because operations are hit hard, logistics aren't performing, there's supply chain breakdown. People like every country has a different lockdown laws, different rulings out there, so it's difficult to get your supply chain moving in COVID-19. So if you can find few articles, get knowledge about it, I think that should help a lot in the summers coming up in the summers.
Mhm. And also, Ketan, what about the scope that a candidate who's wanting to maybe develop pursue a career in operations? What sort of a trajectory would they have? And apart from that, I mean, you because you sat for a companies and you might be doing it by virtue of knowing some friends who also specialize in operations. So, what sort of companies do come to the campus? And is it like every marketing company that comes for marketing roles, they offer supply chain roles as well? Or how does it go when it comes to placements?
I think it's not true that every marketing company opens up an operations role. That's not the case. NM, at least I feel. But yeah, as a company, Honeywell does put focus like hiring a lot, like it hires finance, HR, and operations together. And to talk about roles, I would broadly classify the roles into the logistics part, the supply chain, and the procurement. So given any two are the bread and butter of operations and supply chain. So even if you get in supply chain role or a logistics role, which is moving your materials, that is the goods movement, it's best part to be in, because you learn the new practices that have been adopted in this times. And as I said, in procurement, it's going through a lot of changes, not just in my company, but I have seen, read, and been part of many discussions through Honeywell on the digitization efforts and moving towards a lean procurement. So
Mhm.
there are two aspects. Anyone is good. Like you can interchangeably, if your organization allows, move into different roles and be the master of supply chain, I would say. And
Okay.
alternately, in operations, you can take up the project management roles as well. If you have interest in project management, you have done past projects, handled few things, you can always speak up on that. So yeah, these are the three areas where you might expect roles, and three areas where you need to be prepared for that.
Okay. And again, last thing, Ketan, is as you said that your project revolved around Six Sigma, something of that sort. So there's certificate Six Sigma certification that is offered by KPMG that comes to our campus, and it might go to other campuses as well. So do you advise a candidate who wants to pursue career in operations to do that certification? Will it help in any way?
uh, yeah, the certification does carry a value because it comes from KPMG, one of the
Hmm.
top firms. And like I wasn't knowing that my project would be surrounding the defect analysis and applying Six Sigma, but it definitely helps. It points out in your CV, and you can always talk about it. Like once you do the Six Sigma course, you can always relate like some sort of fact finding you did and how you improve a certain process. It's about a process, and process you find processes everywhere. Like it can be like in your daily lives or in your summer internships or wherever you have worked in. So it's just about picking the ideas and concepts and just relating what you have done in life and how well you are able to present it in front of the interviewer.
Okay.
But
Thank you,
having a
Ketan.
certification, definitely a
Yeah.
plus. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Ketan. Yeah. Yes, Jay. Please, if you can talk about your experience, your summer internship and your finals interview experience.
Yeah, sure. So, hi everyone. Like first discussing about the summer experience. So, whatever companies which have gone through in the summer internship, if we see from the MBA operations point of view, mostly they are having two rounds, GD followed by a PI round. So, GD, as Ketan mentioned, that most of the operations companies which are coming are having GD more from a technical front, like mostly with what I have observed was they were focusing more from the analytics points, like how the data be used in the various supply chain and everywhere. And then talking about the PI part, so as I was a fresher, so my PI was focused more from my academic project which I've done. Like there are some academic projects which we'll be doing in the first trim. So as a part of that, one of the project which was majorly discussed in the interview, and the other part which was focused more was from a supply chain trends point of view. So one of the good thing which worked for me was like that when you are there in the interview, so they would be asking certain trends which are going in the supply chain. Like when I see 2 years back, so there was a major trend which was coming out was the emergence of the 3PL and 4PL players in the market, which were replacing the roles of these CFA agents. And Mahindra Logistics was one of them at that point of time. Other point
Mhm.
was that GST consolidation which has happened. Another was technology which was leading to that complete automation in supply chain. So my interview revolved around these 3 points only. What are the trends and how you can use it. So this was focused from my that summer internship GD and PI pound. Now talking about my summer internship project. So in Mahindra Logistics, by chance I got a good project which was more from a strategy point of view. So just covering a bit part. So currently Mahindra Logistics is offering its e-commerce space में 4PL services, which is just at a forward leg. Now what they want to see was कि there is a complete reverse chain also. What I mean by reverse chain is कि let's assume we return something. So it goes through various stakeholders and then it reaches the original party. And if it has damage in some time, so it is resold at a certain value. So first I have to observe that market space. What is that market? How big it is? What are the current players in that market? Is there a potential for a company like Mahindra Logistics they should enter? And if yes, so how they should enter? Like they should have a direct alignment with some of the new startups which are coming in the market. So my project evolved on that part, also be discussing with the new startups which are coming. What are the things they will be offer if we are having a collaboration with Mahindra Logistics, or they should launch their complete new platform. So it was analysis from that point of time, and at the end coming with the strategy which they should go. So this was from my summer internship point. Then talking about the finals. So in finals, like my Asian Paint GD, if I see my GD, it was more from an abstract topic, which usually happen very less in an operation company. So like the GD topic was something related to like all good leaders are not good strategy. Something like this was a GD topic. I don't remember the exact one, but it was a complete abstract one, which we were not expecting. And now then talking about the PI experience of Asian Paints. So mostly in PI, like if you are a fresher, then they will focus more on a summer internship or your projects which you have done, or else if both are not there, then they will just take a subject. Like let's assume in my case, they have taken supply chain management. And then they started discussing about the core concepts, which we have learned in that particular time, like their recent push and pull strategy and how it fit in their context. So what worked well in this case is key in a company which you are sitting, you should at least know about the whatever concepts you are quoting, they will ask you to implement in their case. So if you have to do it well, it's very like good for them. And they are not looking from that point key whether you are able to implement it correctly or not. They are just checking how good are you with their concepts. Even if you are like telling something wrong, they also know key like you are also not knowing the in and out of that company. So that is a one thing which was there. And another good thing which helped for me was during my Mahindra Logistics internships, I like got to visit some of the Amazon warehouses in Bhiwandi, which we are having as a part of my project. So in that way, in the operation, we are having one WMS, warehouse management system, WMS system, which is implemented across that the depots everywhere. So that also helped key like we were having certain discussions, and then they asked you, are you having any context of WMS? And that also what they asked me was I have to just explain them how that logic flow works. It was not that point key you have to tell them in technicals key what is the background and everything of that thing. And other part was which was there from my Asian Paints interview would be just for the basic hygiene points. So as a fresher, if I like advise anyone, just you should be well with your concepts which you are quoting, and you should be able to relate with them in the implementation part. You can take a short example also and just explain them. They will just see that part and be aware with the recent trends, because the people who are having that work experience, they are having that lever to discuss about their work experience and go through that. But in my case, it was not there. And in my finals, if we see that that Asian Paints is not much in the reverse logistics parts. So they just left my reverse logistic part, and they just focused on grilling me on their supply chain concepts and everything. So this was my summer internship part, which was there. And like talking about the current role. So currently I'm working as a demand planner in Asian Paint context. Thirdly, like just discussing on one point, if we see the different roles in supply chain, basically they can be segmented into two parts. One can be manufacturing, another can be planning. So manufacturing, when I say, it would be more from a plant point of view. You will be posted in a plant like a production manager or a distribution manager or a raw material manager. So this is from a manufacturing part, which usually Asian Paint comes from the campus. Other is a planning bit. If you see that planning, the other roles which are there in supply chain is a demand planning, inventory planning, supply chain planning, raw materials planning, procurement planning, which Ketan has discussed much in detail. So I won't go in that. So these are the basic overall roles in supply chain. If I see from our campus point of view, like what are the companies which are coming? So mostly, if I remember the top, few of the companies, so like Capgemini, Accenture, those companies which are coming are companies which we observe as more coming from a data analytics point of view. The data analytics plus supply, like Honeywell, Asian Paints, they come for their core, like the things which I mentioned, like a raw material manager or a manager point of view. So these are the basic top, few of the roles which are there in the supply chain.
Okay, great. Thank you, Jay. So just 2 or 3 questions which I had for you was, you did not specialize like core operations. You specialized in marketing with operations. Like you took some operation subjects, but you kept marketing as your major. So I just wanted to know why did you do that? If you were like if you had your summers already in operations and then plus you wanted to go into operations, then why did you not choose ops as your core background and then go forward with it? And the second thing is, did you also have this thing in your mind that you were not like inhibitive to apply to companies which are offering marketing roles? So did you apply to those roles as well in your finals?
Yeah, like if you see like why I did that was ki, like if like considering my background, it's like I have done petroleum engineering, second petroleum engineering. So again, I am coming from the like operation background. So in our case, like at what time I remembered like out of 15 subjects, we have to select 8 as a major part and 7 as a minor. In our time when we were doing like recently, our NM has changed that concept ki, like now they don't have to select that 8 part for the major point of view. So in that case, what I thought was ki, like I in the finals when I was going, I was in a two-way mind ki like let's assume like I was having that certain operations ka background. I have done my internship from that point, and there were 5 or 6 projects, 6 subjects which I could take at that point, which need to be which I require from an operation point of view. Rest I thought I will keep my ends open, both marketing as well as operations. In the finals, I will like whichever companies are coming, I will go as per that point. So it was like I was having that strategy and something a background, which was in the Mahindra Logistics. I was having my BTech background, so it supported me well when I was going through that point.
Thank you so much. So now that we have discussed your projects and the processes of summer internships, let's just get into any sort of advice that you guys have with respect to like making the most out of before your summer's process. Like there would be some preparation part that you would have taken care of, like you would have prepared for the interviews or whatever you do before say sitting for any company's interview or processes. So what exactly were your preparation strategies like for all four of you? And then how did you go about preparing for yourself firstly, and then second thing is did you have such thing in mind? I mean, how did you maximize your MBA 2 years of your MBA? So this is something which I want you guys to, and then you can share some strategies for these people, for these juniors who are there on the call today. So anything from your maybe advising point of view that what should these people do in this COVID scenario, because we know that the entire process of placements and everything is going to happen online this year. So how would you maybe what would your advice to these people and what should they be taking care of? So Parul, you can start with your strategies, the preparation strategies that you had, and then how to like maximize these 2 years.
Okay. So addressing the first, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Addressing the first question, I followed a very basic strategy. One was that before you are sitting for your summers and finals, take 1 month and divide that 1 month into your number of subjects. Okay. And then make a diary, make a notebook, whatever. Just prepare on all those subjects for that 1 month. Also, then you have to select one favorite subject because that is one question everybody asks. Even if you don't like a subject, they'll ask you a favorite subject and you'll have to answer it and answer the questions. So then select one particular subject and stick to it, and then study inside out on that subject. You can use YouTube. Which I used to use YouTube videos, and instead of studying from a book, I used to go online and study from YouTube videos about that subject. So that is the second thing. Third is when the shortlists start coming, because once you're into the placement season, there'll be one or two companies. In the initial 1 month, there'll be every day there'll be a company, and you might not get time to uh, prepare for the subject. So I would suggest that study your subjects beforehand, and then जब company का when the company shortlist comes, you have to just study about the company, and if you can manage somehow to get in touch with someone in that role in that particular company, then I would always suggest that you get in touch with them and start asking your questions that will really help you in your interviews. And also a lot of companies in HR, generally there are case based group discussions, but a lot of companies talk about the current affairs. So there are a lot of websites online which have the current affairs, and then they give you the for and against the topic. So that will really that'll be a quick study for you. Matlab, you won't have to get deep into those current affairs because you won't have that kind of time. So that is how you should prepare for your GD. And yeah, so just when the shortlist start coming, you should be prepared with your subjects and only look at the companies, the information and everything about the company. Second, addressing your second question, how to make 100% of your MBA experience. I'll talk about two things. One is that if you're into any committee, don't leave the committee after your summer placements. Try to stick to it. Try to get into the senior committee. If you can't, that's okay. But uh, some just right after summer internship, don't leave your committee. Work for the committee because that will give you a good wholesome experience of MBA. Uh, Second is that keep participating in different competitions. Like for example, I parted in my second year because in first year I could not find that kind of time. In my second year, I made a point to participate in a lot of competitions. So I participated in I think a lot of marketing competitions also, as well as HR competitions, and I'll be very honest, there was a time where nothing was working out. I had some friends in MBA marketing. So I teamed up with them and started participating in competitions. But there was a time I was participating in 5, 6 competitions and nothing was working out. But then I participated in one competition that was by University of Minnesota, and that was a core HR competition. So we cleared that competition, and then we were given a chance to go to the US, and it was a paid trip to the US for the finals, and there were 6 teams in the finals, and we stood second in that competition finally. So I would just tell you that don't lose hope, but please keep participating in all these competitions because these are your chance to get there are a lot of companies that give PPOs and PPIs based on these competitions, even if you clear the campus round also. So just don't stop, keep participating, it is very important to be very active in these 2 years, and it's not just about getting pointer in your MBA course. There's a lot more to MBA than just studying.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So as you just highlighted this point of competition, I was about to ask it, but now that you have
Yeah.
highlighted it, just want to ask. I mean, as you said, you did not find a lot of HR core HR competitions. So,
Hmm.
are there any HR competitions apart from the one in which you participated? Obviously, that is something we'll get into depth of discussions. But apart from that, what can an HR candidate look forward to in terms of competitions? And plus, what sort of opportunities are available to them with respect to PPIs and PPOs? Because if there are marketing competitions in which you
Hmm.
participate, even if you get a
Hmm.
PPI or PPO, will you get an HR role after that? That's highly, I mean, I'm skeptical with that. So then, what should be the approach of the HR candidates?
So I think there are a lot of HR competitions, but they don't open in our college.
So, like
So that is
if you can highlight some.
I am not sure, but I think ITC opens up for HR in XLRI, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So yeah, so there are some competitions that don't open up in your college, but I think if you team up with core, the MBA core guys and participate in those competitions, and I don't know if anybody in my batch or anybody I know has participated and won that competition as an HR student. So I don't know if they will give an HR student a marketing role, but I don't think that. It's highly unlikely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's there. So how should a student go about, maybe now that I mean the summers are approaching for these people? Should they look for participating in competitions right now, or should they just go about their preparations for summers and then competitions after getting placed? That is the second thing.
I think for now, because summers are here, so I think now they should just focus on their uh, summer internship, and after that they can, focus on participating on the competition, according to me.
Okay. Thank you,
So
Parul.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So quickly, I'll just move to Sadaf. And Sadaf, if you can talk about your strategies, the way you prepared, and then uh, any sort of valuable
Sure,
advice that
sure.
you have for these people and other things. Yes.
Yeah. So I think a lot of the points were already covered by Farrell, but I had actually written a couple of points in my notebook, so I'll just quickly tell some of those inputs.
Yeah.
So first of that was the first one. One of them would be to prepare your hygiene questions very well. I did that. We had been given around 40-50 questions, and I think in the interviews also majorly the starting questions are picked up from those hygiene questions list. If the students want those questions, I can forward it to them.
Mm-hmm.
I can give it to you, Harsh, and you can forward it to them
Yeah. Yeah.
and prepare them very well. The idea is not to rote learn all those answers, but to have a very clear perspective on what you're going to deliver when these questions are asked, and you can also expect what could be one of the cross questions that could be asked on those from those questions. And second would be CV. Yes, you should know anything or everything that is being written in your CV. Every line, I was told by one of my seniors that every line that you have written in your CV, try writing 3 exclamation points under them, as in elaborate more on those areas. So yes, that is also one thing that I follow. Also, be ready with the new trends and the industrial things that are happening around. It is very important. It helps you not just while you're preparing while you're giving the interview, but it also helps during your GDs. Also, if you come up with one something different, one different kind of a point, it really helps. Yeah, reading about the company, that also Farm has covered. Very important thing that really worked well for me was that I took a lot of feedback from faculties, from my seniors. So what I did was I used to send them my hygiene questions, my CV, and everything. I would literally send them everything. I would send the hygiene questions to my seniors, and they would help me. They would give me feedback on that, and I would ask the faculties to take my interviews. So I think this thing really helped me a lot, and I used to take those feedback very nicely. I remember in some of the interviews, I had even recorded those interviews to listen to how I was speaking and all those things. That really helped me a lot. Apart from that, maximizing my MBA experience, I think this is something which depends from individual to individual. I also started experimenting with taking part. I was literally everywhere. I used to sit in all the cell interviews, and then I used to take part in all the competitions. So eventually, I realized what my calling was. My calling was the corporate projects, and this really helped me because I did not have any work ex before that. So I did a lot of corporate projects. Some of them did not even materialize. I had applied and it started, but many times the mentors or those people in the company would not respond pretty well, so that did not work out well for me. But then eventually I did 3 internships, and they were what really helped me was all those internships were in 3 different industries. So what happens is while I did my summers in Reliance Geo, this comes in the telecom industry. This helped me a lot to understand that later on we had only 1 or 2 companies that had come from telecom. So it becomes a little difficult to get the shortlisting. So if you are trying to capture as many industries in your series, that would really help. So my experience in the Steel plant, that helped me get shortlisted in Crompton Greaves. So that was the benefit that I achieved from doing 3 internships was that I was getting more shortlists during the finals. And yeah, that would be it from my side.
What would you suggest these people to maybe do this year? How can they go about preparing? As you said, I mean, you can have different sort of industries in your CV, and then you can leverage that. But now that it's like here, summers are here, and CVs are getting freezed in the next 1 or 2 weeks, so they cannot go about any projects. So, what can someone who's looking maybe to apply for certain HR roles? What can that candidate do from now onwards?
I think one of those initiatives that Nestle had started was the Nesternship. I am not sure if the students had really applied for it or not. This was 1 month virtual internship that we were offering. I think that was a very good idea, wherein you just had to fill in your details, and there was one quiz. And this is in that 1,000 interns were doing internships in Nestle. I think that was a very good idea. Secondly, if you are at your native place right now and you haven't gone to your respective colleges, what you can do right now is you can ask for companies which are functioning right now around you, and you might ask them to give you a small project, just to understand how their processes are. What is really important is to for you to understand how does the function work in those organization or those industries. This thing really helps a lot. Also, if you have good contacts in the industry, you might ask them. It is difficult because what I see from my angle also, that a lot of students approach me, but we are not taking interns in the other way around, so that is not really helping. But if you have good contacts, you may reach out to them, or somewhere around your close vicinity in your local area. What I would suggest is maybe you can students can read up a couple of magazines like Sherm or People Matters, and also watch videos on YouTube on of these channels. This is something which would really add a lot of values, and this could help you pitch in pointers during your summers as well as finals as well.
Cool. Thank you, Sagar. Now I'll hand it over to Ketan. Ketan, if you can talk about your experience, your strategies of preparation for your summers, and then any sort of advice which you have for these people.
Yeah, sure, Harsh. So as I mentioned in my like the previous interaction, that you need to be well aware of the company that's coming in, the role that's coming in, and try to fit yourself into that role. As I said, go back in your past, find something that is similar to that role, which you can speak of in the interview. That's on the interview part. But before that, you need to like have a list of top 10 companies, 5 companies, whichever number suits you, and try having in contact with those seniors or maybe the alums placed in those companies beforehand, because the shortlist comes one day before. And if you send a LinkedIn connection or go finding their contacts, it's gonna be like you won't end up doing anything. So it's better like a month before the placement starts, try finding the alums or seniors placed in these companies or who have interned in this top 5, top 10 companies. Discuss with them. As Parul and Sadaf mentioned, that have your CV, have the knowledge about your CV in and out. Like, don't put anything which you won't be able to explain. That's one thing. You should be able to explain even the minute of achievements which you have maybe achieved 5 years ago, 4 years ago, but you should be able to justify it, why it should be put in your CV. And on the company's part, yes, you need to do your homework. If you have WorkX, you need to be thorough with it. What were your highlights? If you have any appreciations, and keep them handy, like why you got them. Just having appreciations or having highlights won't help, like why you got them. That's one thing. And on the day of interview, I would say on the GD front, just be calm. Like we know that we have got to this MBA college, whatever college, whichever college you are in, you have the knowledge. You just need to be calm, composed, and let's say take a moment. It's definitely plus point if you start the GD, but even if you don't, it's not negative marking. It's either plus or it's a zero. It's never negative. So just gather your thoughts, pen it down, and then within a suitable pause, just pitch in the GD. Just don't go ballistic in the start without having any knowledge about it, because I have seen 2 of my GDs going haywire, one getting scrapped because someone decided to just shoot down the missiles at the start. That's on the GD front. On the PI, I feel the PI power lies with us, like how to drive the interview. Try leaving your answers to certain questions on a cliff which you enjoy. Let's say if you're talking about your CV, end it with project management if you have interest in project management. So the interview gets driven there, I feel. So you can drive your own interviews. You just need to master those tricks. Contact seniors, your alums, do mock GDs. I know like colleges take those efforts to do mock GDs, do participate in those. Keep yourself updated with various domains. If it's operations, there are many case studies you can read online, which the top consultancy firms publish, and those are made public also. One thing in current situation, I would say, keep yourself updated on COVID-19, as I said, because lots of changes have undergone in the operations part, how companies are operating on the manufacturing front, on the logistics front, on the procurement front, how projects have been managed, and how the teams are collaborating without meeting each other, because operations was a people's job. Like 10 people do a thing and then 10 people meet and get a thing done, but that's not possible. So
Okay.
that's it on my part, how you should go about preparing the interview. It's mostly your CV, your knowledge about subjects, if you have work ex, and most importantly, in today's scenario, I feel knowledge about what's being done differently by few big companies and how impactful it has been.
Okay. Thank you, Kit. Thank you so much. Again, I'll move on to Jay. So Jay, if you can share some of your preparation strategies, and then at the same time, because you were harping a lot on knowing concepts when you appear for your interview, so how can a candidate when he's sitting for a summer internships know about the concepts very well from now onwards? What would you suggest to these people? Any sort of reading material or anything that you would want to suggest? Yes.
Okay. So like pointers which Parul and Ketan has also mentioned, that hygiene questions are a must of you, and that CV point which was discussed. But one of the things which was coming from our point, when we are freshers, so we like to put some point in our CV for just extending bit that it should have been a. So don't put it unless you are 100% confident that even if a person is asking you in and out of anything, you are able to defend it. Yes, I know, and why put that point. So you should be sure in that part. Rest everything other one have people have taken out. One thing which I was mentioned was like in a trim one, we are not taken too much about the supply chain concepts. And if you are starting a supply chain company, so what I recommend would be like there are certain courses online, like on Coursera or on like Udemy, in which you can just mention the basics of supply chain management, in which it will just take you about the basic concepts which are being applied in supply chain industry, like push pull concepts, or like a one-time concept, or like something would be key managing the lean six sigma. Six sigma won't be in much detail, but what's the lean six sigma mean, and you should just be aware of these concepts. So one thing which I would suggest from my point would be like you can go through internet, read some materials, understand these supply chain concepts. Another point will be focusing on the trends part. You just be aware what are the trends which are coming in the recent supply chains. Like if you can go online, you would be find various reports by KPMG or Deloitte, in which they mention about the industry 4.0 and industry 5.0. How that industries are companies. Industry 4.0 is different from industry 3.0. What are the things which companies are doing? Like one of the things is digitization or investing more in the technology front. How it will help you is when your GD will be going on, you can bring some of these points and discuss about this. So it will help in those cases. So that will be one of my extra addition thing which I will mention from an operation point which people should focus. And the other point was which Ketan mentioned was like discussing with the seniors. So let's assume like in our NM only, there are 10 or 15 companies, ops companies, which are coming every year. So one good thing will be you can reach those seniors 1 month in advance, at least discuss what are the interviews which those companies are having, because each company is having a different interview type. Like some companies which I take just example, not TNG, which come to a campus, their interviews more focused from their cultural point of view, whether that person who is giving the interview fits in their way of working or not. It's more from a technical, they don't focus much on the technical front. But if I take a company like Asian Paints or a Capgemini or Honeywell, they focus is sometimes more on the technical front. How good you are with the technical things. So just get in touch with your seniors, get to know what are the expectation of that company or what a person will be asking that particular PI from the recent trends, and then just go through that questions one. So that helped in my case. So this will be more from a GD and PI point.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jay. Now that we have completed the entire gamut of summer internships and stuff, so now quickly we'll just get into the next topic, which happens to be the way one can build a profile. So again, I'll throw the pass the bait to Parul. So Parul, if you can talk about it, I mean, what exactly does building a profile means, and what can say an HR candidate go about doing in their 2 years to build a good profile so that they can maximize their chances of converting, at least from a shortlisting point of view? What do you think can be the go-to thing that an HR candidate can do? Second thing is I will want you to share your experience, as you said that you went to the US to participate in this competition and then you were the runner off of that. So from an experience point of view, what exactly was that competition about? Because it was core HR, as you had mentioned. So what was the content and the process of that competition? So if you can talk about that, would be great.
Okay. So for summer internship, I think the basic criteria of shortlisting will always be your 10th, 12th, and undergrad percentages, and then maybe a little related to your previous work experience. It is a similar, if for example a manufacturing company is coming, so do you have an experience in that company? So shortlisting in summers, I don't think there is a, there's a, I'm not sure, but I don't think in summers there's a very uh, strict shortlisting criteria. Ki if you're majoring in HR, then HR background hona chahiye. So that is what I understand. But obviously, building your profile during your MBA would, like I said, would include participating in competitions, being involved in your committees, and also like Sadav said, which I obviously missed, was doing the corporate project. So I don't know if it is very late or not, but there were some students in my batch who had started working in corporate projects in the first trimester itself. And there were some good companies who had conducted interviews, and they had a different selection process for I think it was Future Group, if I'm not wrong, who that had come in the first trimester for their corporate project, and it was as good as the selection in summer internship. So yes, so doing corporate projects in your entire 2 years will really help, at least in your finals, if for summers if it is too late. And then coming on to the competition, so this is a competition that is conducted by University of Minnesota every year. So they have, so in the US there are 3 universities that have really good programs in HR. So one is University of Minnesota, one is Rutgers, and one is Ohio. So these are they have their separate competitions in HR, wherein the University of Minnesota is an international competition. So in the first round, you had to obviously apply for the competition, and then they gave you a period of 7 days where you had to select 24 hours. Like, for example, you give 9th of August, 10 a.m. So 9th of August, 9:59 a.m., they'll give you a case. And then next day, 10th of August, 10 o'clock, before that, you had to mail them the entire solution of that case. So so we had a case on expat compensation in the first round. So the first round was online round. So in within those 24 hours, you had to submit the case study, solution, and all the annexures related to that. So it was a PDF document that we had to send it to them. And then after a month or so, they rolled out the final team. So there were 6 teams, one from India, which was us, then one from Australia, one China, and there were 3 teams, I think, from the US only. And yeah, so all these teams were funded to come to the US for 3 days in Minnesota, and then we have corporate competitions where the entire competition is done by that particular company only. So this competition, like Minneapolis is a industrial area in the US. So they have a lot of companies. So whichever company has a HR every year, whichever company in Minneapolis has a HR related issue or problem that they want the students to solve and give them a solution on. They became their sponsor number one, and then so likewise that year, our year, they had United Health Group as the company. So we had a case on United Health Group. So day one they took us to the United Health Group office and showed us all their HR processes and every and their IT system and everything. And then day two they gave the case in the morning, and by 11 o'clock 11 night we had to submit our presentations. And next day we had a presentation in front of the HR heads of all their sponsor companies, sponsor one, two, three. And then and then they released the winning list. Yeah, that's
Okay.
how it is.
Cool. So do they also have the system of PPIs or PPOs that they give you in US only?
So, no, we tried to ask that to them, but they gave us the contact of the APAC HR head who probably reached out to our Placecom. But the thing was, they wanted to have a process in February, which was when all of us were already placed. So that did not work out.
Okay, so probably while switching, you can utilize that the contacts that you have.
But I think they have something. They always have this team from university. The home team from University of Minnesota would always come first, second, or third. So that year they came third, and I think they have something for those
Okay.
people from University of
So
Minnesota.
so
Yeah.
what do we get even though we had won? If suppose we had won, then what would it be apart from just the winner tag? What exactly is the benefit of these competitions?
I think it's the entire experience of for us it was because in the first round in 24 hours we had to submit the solution, and then in the final round there we had to submit the solution in I think 16 hours. And there was on day one there was a familiarization dinner where we got to know that we were the only team that had so I formed a team with my my friend and like two of my friends, and the rule said that we had to have a junior, so we took a junior who was already placed. So that's how we found the team. Apart from us, everybody else like China and Australia and the US, they had internal competitions for selecting this team who will apply for this competition. So so these were all experiences that you get to know. So on day one only we were very demotivated that these guys were already very prepared.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but still, you guys managed to at least get hold of a big pie of that competition. But then also again, a funded competition to US is always something one should look at. But having said that, thank you for sharing that experience of yours. So now I'll again move to Sadaf, and Sadaf, if you can talk about how can a student go about making a strong profile, making a strong case in finals. Because again, for summers, it's there, so nothing can be done from now in 1 week. Because people, if there's nothing that people would have done in the first 25 years of their life, how can you make sure that you build your profile in 25 days? That's not possible. But still, in the next 2 years, what these people can go about doing and make a strong case for getting recruited in the top companies which come to the campus in finance.
Yeah. So when a company comes for finance, there are majorly two things. One is the industry from which the company is coming, and second is the job description or the role that the company will be offering you. So the idea would be over the 2 year span of 2 years, try building a profile, try building a CV that covers majorly all the industries or all the roles that are being offered by the companies. You can do a basic research of all the companies that have come in the past, which industries were they from, and what kind of roles they were offering. And this is that try. Okay, corporate projects is something that you cannot get all the time. What you should do is take your projects very seriously, the course-based project very seriously. I've seen that many students, what they do is they just copy paste stuff from somewhere or the other. I've seen this thing happening, and I've also seen people who have taken their projects very seriously. So the one project that I did in the Steel plant, that was not exactly a corporate project. It was also a part of our curriculum. our IR project. So I had taken it up very seriously, and many students, they tend to take it slightly easier way, or they try to copy paste that. Similarly, I remember. So many times, what also happens is you don't have an organization, that bigger brand to get in touch with, or whatever the thing be. I remember we did a project on job evaluation. And what we did was we got in touch with one hospital, which was a very small hospital. We did a job analysis of all the kind of people that were working over there. This is that we did make a competency framework. We made a job description of all the roles in there, and we did a job evaluation. So the entire thing added up a lot of value in us. I had seen students who would just sit in their homes and do the project, whereas we, as a team, we were going to the hospital itself, talking to the people working over there. So yeah, if you are not able to get in touch with, you're not able to get very good corporate projects, you should of course take your curriculum based projects also very seriously. Try to make the most out of it, so that in the finals, if some companies come in with similar role and you are shortlisted, you know in and out about the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
And
Thank,
yeah.
cool. Thank you so much, Sadaf. Yes, I'll quickly again move on to Ketan. Ketan, if you can share, sorry, if you can share how a person in operations can go about building a strong profile and a strong case for themselves in finance.
Yeah, so as mentioned earlier by Sadaf and Parul, that we might not have work experience or might not have that much of under our belt when you go for summers. It actually comes down to what you do in 2 years. So corporate projects or virtual internships, however you call it, just focus on those. Uh, even if it's not a branded name for your corporate projects, it's fine. The work you do really matters because it's the content you speak that matters in your final, in most cases. And also do participate in the competitions. You may not win it or the success might not come, but yeah, every competition will open up a different dimension to your problem solving skills. So do participate in those. And uh, apart from that, develop your skill set. So you might have few subjects in your colleges. Choose your electives carefully. Like if you have a defined career path, or if you want to do these things, aim for those subjects and what extra you can add from what has been taught in your college. Like let's say from Coursera, from Udemy, from Simply Learn. Like just take those courses. And one thing I would advise is try to look for some open source platforms which you can harness during, which you can use during your internships. Let's say, if speaking from operations point of view, if you're giving loads of data, Python would be a big ask. But if you can do R or SPSS, that would definitely help in your operations internship. So you may look out for such open source platforms, open source software, which will add value to what you're giving in your internships. And yeah, definitely these would affect what you speak in your final interviews also. And something off topic, have your peer group uh, formed of people which are from different backgrounds, let's say from finance, marketing, discuss current happenings, what's going on in marketing. Let's say if company decides to bring in a new product, it's not just marketing that would be involved, it would involve your supply chain finances as well. So discuss those things, broaden your overview. This may not reflect in your CV, but this will reflect when you speak in front of the panelists for your interview. And I think that's it. Like majority points have been covered, like how to boost your CV, how to boost. But these points, like have your own group with varied people from varied backgrounds, and all those things would definitely help. And keep learning, keep enhancing the skill set apart from what you have in colleges, because the books are there, but you need to show some outcome backed by something, which, and usually it's the softwares that back your outputs. So just learn a few open source one, because licensing can get an issue in the organization you're interning in. So that's why I'm focusing on get an open source platform to learn, which is free of cost, available anywhere to use.
And Ketan, you mentioned about competitions. So in operations, what sort of corporate competitions do actually open up for students? And Do you have any idea about that?
I would say the scope is less for operations competitions. It's more about teaming with teams from other backgrounds. Let's say a wholesome competition comes and it requires knowledge from marketing, from finance, and a little bit of operations. So it's more on participating with those in those competitions as well. On the operations front, I suppose one was the Mahindra War Room, but again, it has 9 to 10 case studies that open up. But we chose the operations one, so that's one which you can concentrate. I think
In your
that
comments,
I
Redefine,
recall now. Maybe Jay can add to it. But yeah,
okay.
operations is less. But in terms of opportunities where you can team up with other faculties or other streams, it's there. Like there are many multi-dimensional competitions where the operations part is needed, and you can team up there. You can provide your
Okay.
inputs or brainstorm over it.
Okay. Thank you, Ketan. Yes. Lastly, moving on to Jay. Jay, if you can give your mantra to success in finals. I mean, what exactly did you do between your summers and your finals process to get recruited at one of the best companies?
Sure. So one thing like which everyone has mentioned the corporate projects, but which I like if you see specifically focus in operations, so people would be finding it difficult to find a project in a operations bit. So what I will suggest everyone is even if you're not finding a project specific dedicated to operations thing, if you're finding something in strategy also, that also adds value to your CV because you can link it somewhere in that. Other point is do your like which Ketan also mentioned that subject selection which we are doing because currently if we see from the early operations part we were mostly focused on the technical point in logistics management and supply chain management. But if we see the recent trends which are coming is in our operations thing is everything is moving towards analytics and everything. So there are some of the good courses which are offered like in our course like advanced data analytics and everything. So I would suggest like people who are doing like specialization in operations, they should consider these subjects because if you see 10 years down the line, the AI, ML and everything would be the future of the supply chain. So consider those subjects and in the next 1 year time frame, apart from participating in the competitions bit through getting in touch with the other people from the operations bit, mostly in operations there are Asian bits of competition which does not open in our campus for supply chain. Another is the Mahindra War Room. Other than that, what I will suggest everyone is develop their skill set. Like you can take any one language which you want to learn. Like let's assume if you are in future in supply chain you want to work, let's take R. It is a free source thing or Python or something, and at least get just a brief overview about this. Because if something like this is there in your CV, it actually brings overall value addition. Or let's assume there are certain online courses for Tableau, so you can just go through it and Tableau is just about preparing basic dashboards and how you represent the data, large set of data, and how you can bring insights to the companies. So that overall actually makes you a differentiation point. You compare with other CVs, if you are having something like some skills which you are having or like some extra value addition which you can add to the company, that would be one of the major thing which I would suggest operation people can do other than focusing on their subjects and everything.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jay. So now that we have completed the agenda that we have at hand, let's just quickly take some questions which people might have. So, guys, if you have any questions, you can either put it on the chat box or you can unmute the call. You can ask the question, and these people will be happy to take those questions out.
Hello, hi, Harsh. This is Deepak here.
Yeah, Deepak. Yes.
I had one or two questions with Jay and Ketan.
Yeah.
So I mainly wanted to know, we discussed about this certification course that is Six Sigma. So we mostly talked about KPMG. So does Six Sigma certificate by any other like Udemy or any other thing does that hold value, or should we wait for the institution like they arrange this KPMG thing and then we should go for it?
So, hi Deepak. So you can opt for any body which is certifying you in Six Sigma. The reason is because what you get is a green belt or a yellow belt.
Right.
which doesn't require any project associated with it. So it really doesn't matter if you take KPMG, if you take Udemy or any other platform, let's say Simplilearn or Coursera. It's more on the certification. It's better to have knowledge. What is the DMIC process and all. So to answer to your question, it doesn't matter if you take it from KPMG or Udemy. But if you have to implement, you at a black belt level, that is one step higher, you need uh, maybe a tutor who is himself a black belt and have a project associated with it. So that's when maybe the institution might matter or the person who is coaching you might matter.
I had one more question, but I don't know how relevant or how good that this question is. I have like what I have seen is like my friends who are working in like who are in this MBA thing. So what I have noticed is like I have 25 months of work experience. So I feel for ops guy for a good profile, like we have example of Jay who has gotten into very good role being a fresher. But is it so like you when you have less than 24 months of work experience, it is considered not so good for operations? Like in general, not a thumb rule, but in general.
Yeah, it's a thumb rule or it's a saying that experience aids the operations profile. And I won't say the threshold would be 2 years or 2.5 or 3 years. It can be a year or so. But yeah, it helps to have the work X associated with operations, because in operations they expect you just to mm, just to jump right into the project and start delivering. In terms of Jay, Jay is back, so maybe he can speak on the freshers part. But it's not 2.5 years or 2 years, maybe a year or so, because if you see when you graduate and if you're joining an operations role, many companies will put you on a rotational basis for 1 year. Like they will give you a brief overview of what their companies does, what their company does. So that's where you gain knowledge of every aspect of operations in the company if you have an operations background already.
36 months or something, it doesn't actually matter in this case. What I suggest is like there are some companies which are coming to our campus which more than 2 years, they require minimum 24 months. In that case, you are having a like the people who are having a work experience are having a strong point. They can sit in that companies. Other than that, if I see, it actually depends on the company also. If a company is coming and they want to directly put you on job, in that case, a company might prefer a person who's having experience, who has that infield project implementation here, and they want to directly put him. If a company, the other companies which are coming post MBA and they are having an initial 6 to 12 months of training period, in that case, the company is not having a particular mindset whether they want a fresher or they want a person with work experience. Because in that case, company having a certain background, we train that person for the initial 6 months, and post that we have to start delivering.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you, Jay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deepa. Okay, so next question, Ritik has asked. So this I will like to direct to Parul. So, Parul, if you can talk about how did you prepare for your HR case study competition that you participated in, and apart from that as well, I mean, other case study competitions also in which you had participated. How does an HR candidate go about preparing for that?
For preparing for the case study competition, I don't know. But when you apply for the competition, what I did was, I'll tell you, I connected with a lot of faculties in our college. So we explained our case to them. We took their basic ideas, and when the final solution to the case study was ready, we took their idea. We took their advice and ideas again. So I think that you always have a few faculties who are very helping in helping towards the students. So we just reached out to our faculty when they were available at all times. And apart from it, what we did was we studied about a lot of companies, what they were doing in this. For example, if you got a case study on performance management or expatriate compensation, so we studied a lot about that, what different large companies are doing in that field. So yes, so I don't know how to answer how do you prepare before applying to the case study competition, but yes, once you've applied, you get the topic of the case study, then there's a lot of work that is required to come to a solution of that case study.
Mhm. So actually, I think what Ritik meant was, suppose if you have applied for any competition, then how do you go
Correct.
about maybe preparing for it? Any sort of research that you have to do, or some sort of sources which you refer to? I think this is what he's asking. So if there are any sources which you can recommend for these people which they can refer to while they are preparing solutions for the cases.
Okay. So, what we did, so yes, as HR students, we all initially had applied to People Matters. So if you're in constantly every month you're in touch with what is coming in People Matters, you generally build a very good idea of what different companies are doing. So that will be one preparation, that will be one ongoing preparation that you can do, because there are different HR related magazines, and they have websites also. So you can, keep in touch with them, and then that'll be one point in preparation. Apart from that, once you know the topic, like I said, that you can study about different companies, what they're doing. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sadaf, if you want to talk about anything with respect to the way an HR student can go about preparing for competitions or anything.
Yeah, I think that would be Parul has covered a lot of points. Apart from that, what also students can do is that maybe they can get in touch with the seniors who had earlier appeared in similar kind of competitions and try to understand what their expectations are, because these competitions tend to happen every year. For example, the Unilever case study, I think they have Lime, there's something of the sort. So you can ask the seniors what exactly is the mindset, what are they looking for, because sometimes they look for creative people, sometimes they might look for good communication. So it depends. It's good that you also ask the people who have worked on similar projects earlier.
Can I go ahead?
Yeah, please go ahead.
So, if I get into logistics roles right after my MBA, is it possible for me to switch to the overall supply chain management role after getting a 2-3 years of experience? Or how important is it to get a right role at the beginning of right after your MBA?
Like it's easy for thing to like you can switch roles within the supply chain easily. Like let's assume if you're working in a logistics role, so what you will be doing initially will be only focusing more in the distribution bit, the distributing the movements of boats and everything you would be there. So it's easy to switch from logistics to like the any supply chain dedicated role, like let's assume supply chain planning or production planning. But if you're looking to switch from logistics to a detailed demand planning something type of role, in that you have to develop a certain skill set. Like it will be focusing like from statistical point, or you are having knowledge of that tools and everything that would be required. I have seen, like if I give you a real context here, like in the Asian Paints I have seen people switching from commercials to dedicated supply chain. So it's like easy within the company, like you can switch it. But if you are talking about specific dedicated roles like demand planning or something like demand planning or working in a plant, in that case it would be a bit of a difficult side to switch in that case.
To add to it, if you are on the logistics, if you get a logistics role, the natural career progression would be to expand your horizons from logistics to entire supply chain, and maybe then going into demand planning. So it really doesn't matter if you land in any sort of niche area in operations, because you will master it or you will gain the entire knowledge about it in another 1-2 years. So the natural progressions would be to move into other areas, and all these areas are interlinked. So even if you work in logistics, you should know like how the demand is going to be and how you need to plan for your incoming logistics and all. So it won't affect you changing roles in future, because you will have a basic bit of idea of what goes on in other profiles or other roles.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jay. Yeah, so with that, we come to the end of the session, and just would like to thank Parul, Jay, Ketan, and Sadaf, all four of you for taking our time. and helping these people out. Obviously, they'll have a lot of additions, a lot of takeaways from the session, and which will help them going forward in the next 2 years that they have at hand. So thank you so much for sparing the time out. And, I think that's about it from my side and for these people as well.
Thank you, Harsh, and
Thank
you all for
Thank you.
Harsh,
All the
for having
best.
us, and thank you all for attending it, and all the best.
Thank you. All the best,
Thank
guys.
you.
Everyone.
All the best.
Thank you. All the best, everyone.